And we are back with another edition of the LL Spring Sports Roundtable. Look at the colorful graphic behind us. Cool. It's a mural. It's very, very impressive. Well, that's a new work. We're constantly striving to improve the product, right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
I agree.
The whole thing is brought to you by Substitute Teachers Service. I'm Mike Gross. I'm hosting. There's Jason. There's Jeff. You know these guys. They're out there covering high school sports all the time. And we're going to go through and talk a little bit about what's happening so far as we're into the league season a little bit. Starting with lacrosse and Mr. Guarente.
We'll start with the boys. Hempfield had a big win over Penn Manor, 9-8 in overtime. Toby Marco had the winning goal. And that gave Hempfield a chance to pull into a tie with Township later in the week. Township won that game. So now Township, which is the prohibitive favorite in Section 1, has a 2-game lead on the field. So it was a hard-fought game, 17-13. So Hempfield was right there, almost got it square in Section 1, but it's still Township, which was the preseason favorite. In Section 2, it's LS, 5-0 in the league. They have a 1-game lead over Cocalico. They won the first match with Cocalico, so it seems like it's going to come down to those two. And Cole Lopez is LS's leading scorer. LS is 7-0 overall, too, nice. So undefeated all the way around.
Okay.
On the girls' side, interesting week. It's Township running away in Section 1. They're just powerhouse. They're blowing out all their Section 1 rivals. But Liv Palmer came back. She had a knee injury in the summer. She missed all of her soccer season and all of her basketball season and the beginning of lacrosse, so now she's back. And it's good to have her. She's a sophomore, so there's plenty of high school sports ahead for her. She's one of the better players in the league. So Township got even better, I guess, if that's possible. And in Section 2, Cocalico is the first place team, and Danica Souter scored her 200th goal, which is in preposterous total that I can't really fathom. She has 45 goals this season.
Already?
In 9 games. So she's a Messiah recruit. So that was the big story in Section 2.
And she's also Wayne Gretzky, as far as we can tell.
Yeah, really.
Am I right?
Good basketball player, too. Multi-sport kid, Danica. Yeah.
Okay, Rhines, let's volley a bit.
Volleyball's been great. I got to tell you, we're 2.5 weeks in, and there are so many storylines in LL boys volleyball. It's crazy. Check out the logjam in Section 1 already. Hempfield's 4-1, Penn Manor's 3-1, Warwick's 3-1. So you got a 3-way tie in the loss column at the top already. You got Cedar Crest with 2 losses, and Manheim Township, which has been basically retooling since about 2017, because it's such a good section, top to bottom every year. They're 2-2 already in the first 2.5 weeks in Section 1 boys volleyball. Cedar Crest beat Warwick, Penn Manor beat Cedar Crest, Warwick beat Hempfield, and Manheim Township beat Cedar Crest. Oh, they're just beating each other. So it's just a fun race. I got to see Penn Manor on Tuesday night. They beat CV. Penn Manor's really tricky. They're tough. Key match coming up Thursday. Penn Manor at Warwick. Winner stays in first. Loser drops back a peg. But this race has been fantastic. Section 2, Manheim Central, playing great. They had the bye on Tuesday night this week, but they're 4-0. And the Barons right now, as we sit, are the only LL team in the state rankings. PVCA boys state rankings. Barons are number 2 in 2A. They're the only LL team ranked. Right. On their heels, Cocalico 3-1, E-Town 3-1. They've both won 3 straight section matches. Key match next Tuesday night. E-Town at Cocalico to stay on Manheim Central's heels. I've yet to see the Barons. I told you this off camera. I want to see Manheim Central soon here in volleyball. But they're wiping everybody out, yep. So I'm kind of picking my spots to see the Barons.
You're saving them. They're like a whole
I will see you, Manheim, eventually, I promise. But Cocalico, E-Town right on Central's heels here 2.5 weeks in. And Section 1's been bonkers.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yep.
All right, little LL baseball. I'm going to save Section 3 for last because there's a team in Section 3 that I have been sleeping on, and I want to talk about them a little bit. Section 1. Hempfield and Penn Manor are the top 2 seeds in the district in 6A. Interesting. Which doesn't mean much this early, of course. They both have 1 loss, and they play each other at Hempfield on Friday. Township and Hempfield tonight. I'm going to be going to that game. I think it will be the turn in the rotation for Braden Lead, the big time pitcher for Township. So it'll be interesting to see the team that we kind of think is the best team in the league go against him. That's a good matchup in Section 1. Hempfield and Penn Manor seem to be pretty much ahead of everybody else right now, although that section's pretty deep. In Section 2, Ephrata, undefeated, 1 loss overall, and E-Town, who we thought was right with them, good win over LS on Monday at a game that I was at, but then they lost last night to Solanco. But anyway, E-Town hosts Ephrata on Friday. A lot of big games early in the section are coming up in the next couple days. In Section 4, Northern Lebanon, 5-1, 3-0 in the section. Beat Lancaster Catholic the other day handily. Lancaster Catholic, Anvil Cleona had gotten off to a real good start. It was 4-0, pretty impressive. And then on the Saturday, Catholic played them and pummeled them and really hit them, really hit. But that was Catholic's first win of the year.
Interesting.
They've only played 3 games. So that section is not even. That hasn't even taken shape yet. Section 3, and this is the team that I said I slept on, Garden Spot, has been really good. They are 6-1. They're undefeated in the section. They've hit, and the run prevention piece has been really good too. Their team ERA is 1.76. Listen to this. Caleb Zimmerman. He's hitting .522. with a 1.775 OPS. Wow. I can't even use my familiar phrase, the Babe Ruthian OPS, because in fact, Babe Ruth can sniff that. Wow. He's got 3 home runs, and he has a 1.62 ERA.
Wow.
They have a lot of, a kid named Cole Harding, 1.2 something OPS. He's been terrific. Wow. Kai Harding, who you may remember, shortstop, number 3 hitter. Of course, he was the excellent quarterback on their football team. So anyway, I have not really said much about Garden Spot, and that's neglect on my part. They go to Donegal on Friday, and Donegal is also undefeated in the section, so that'll be a good one. But anyway, that's where we are in baseball. Let's go to the thin class. Jason, that's track. Big guy.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Threw me a curveball.
Throwing a lot at you.
All that baseball stuff. I start with the girls. Eliana Schneider, javelin thrower, Cedar Crest sophomore, 147.5 in the javelin, which is number 2 in the state. Number 2 all time in the LL with these specifications. The javelin changed in 2001, so there's 2 sets of records. There's some longer throws in the 80s, but that was a different javelin. So she's a sophomore. I mean, she's the only person to ever throw the javelin farther in the LL is Kristen Herr at LS, who threw it 157 something. So she's 10 feet away from the record. And there's plenty of room to grow. She has 3 more full seasons just about to do that. So that was the most notable girls' achievement. There are some girls freshman sprinters who are sort of bursting on the scene. You never know about freshmen until they get out there in the meets. There's Talia Lieber at Hempfield, who ran the 100 in 12:63, which is the fastest time in the state among class of 2027. Wow. So she'll be someone to watch in the LL sprint. McCaskey's Corinne Miller is number 2 in the league in the 200. She's a freshman, and Conestoga Valley's Naomi Johnson is number 2 in the league in the 400. That's Cadell Howard's 2 events. That's why she's on the board there. So she's the favorite to win those, but there are some freshmen who are putting up really good times who are worth watching. On the boys' side, I just wanted to highlight Cole Stevens. He ran a 4:20 in the mile, which isn't that notable at this time, but he's trying to get under 4:10, which has only been done 3 times in LL history. Wow. He was around 4:13 last year, so he has a chance. He's only a junior to become one of the all-timers with, Craig Miller, Evan Dorenkamp, Vince McNally. Those are the kinds of guys who break 4:10 in the mile in the LL, so that's someone to watch. And Ethan Peffley at Township ran the 800 and 157, which is a really good time for this time of year. You get into the 155 range and you're on the district medal stand, so he'll be someone to watch as the season goes forward.
All right, thank you, Jason.
Nice.
I'm going to quickly do softball,
for
right, and then we'll go over to you.
Sure.
Section 1, Township beat Penn Manor on Monday behind pitcher Ava Stern. This is interesting because Township is now 3-0 in the section and 3-4 overall.
Wow.
That's a little weird. So Penn Manor has been rolling. They're 6-1. That's their first loss of the year, but they're a game behind in the section because they've only played 2 section games. And also the other 2 teams that are right in it in Section 1 are Warwick and Hempfield. And last week Warwick beat Hempfield 11-2 after Warwick lost to Township. So Township is all of a sudden you can't even say they're a spoiler because they're in first place and they're undefeated. It's kind of strange the way that's going. The other 3 sections, it looks like there's a sort of a clear favorite, and they have been as advertised so far. In Section 2, that's Ephrata, good win over LS last night. They're undefeated in the section and overall. Donegal 7-0, run differential 77-9.
Oh, wow,
that's crazy time. Now we should mention upstart a little bit there in Section 3 is Elko. They're undefeated overall and 2-0 in the section. They go to Donegal next week, on Wednesday of next week. And then in Section 4, the team has been Northern Lebanon. They've only played 5 games, only given up 3 runs.
Whoa.
They do have a loss in the section, 4-1, 3-0 overall. But in those other 3 sections, it looks like there's a clear favorite, and maybe Elko will prove me wrong about that next week. And then Section 1 just looks like a 4-team horse race, similar to what we've described in some of the other sports. So.
Gabby Smith, I believe, is Elko's pitcher. Good athlete.
Yeah,
She's back again.
Yeah, they've been pretty good. Now they've won some close ones. They don't have this monster run differential like some of these teams do. But we'll see if they can play with Donegal next week.
Interesting.
Ryans, what do you got?
Okay, we'll wrap it up with tennis. The key word here in tennis so far has been rain. There's been a lot of postponements.
That's not what you want for a key word.
And the regular season in tennis, believe it or not, ends next Thursday, like in a week. So a lot of teams have a lot of matches to play in a short amount of time. Let's go through it. Hempfield and Cedar Crest, both undefeated, 3-0 in Section 1. They're out front with Township 1 loss and McCaskey 1 loss, still in the mix. Key matches today, Wednesday, as we sit, Hempfield against Manheim Township, the quintessential LL League rivalry in any sport. April 15th, next week, Hempfield against Cedar Crest. Circle those. Section 2, LS and Cocalico are both 2-0. They've only played 2 section matches. They're on a collision course for next week, April 17th, LS at Cocalico. Section 3, still Country Day out front, the defending state champs, team champs. They're 5-0. They've gotten 5 section matches in. Anvil Cleona, Lancaster Catholic, Pequea Valley, 1 loss each, chasing the Cougars. Country Day still has matches against Mennonite, Octorara, and Anvil Cleona on the last night of league play. We'll see if the Dutchman can get in position to maybe share a section title with Country Day. Oh, by the way, Country Day in 2A is at number 3 in the district rankings. And those 4 Section 1 teams that I mentioned up top, Hempfield in 3A, Hempfield's number 1, Crest is number 2, Township's number 4, and McCaskey's number 9. So looks like we're going to have a bunch of teams play in the district team tennis tournament coming up. You can see the finish line in boys tennis, which is crazy, next week.
Well, we sure can't see the finish line in anything else
Nothing.
other than tennis.
No way.
But
Not
anyway,
even close.
We're in the middle of the churn of the regular season, and we'll be back with more of this stuff next week. Anyway, this has been the LL Spring Sports Roundtable, brought to you by Substitute Teacher Service. For Jason and for Jeff, I'm Mike. See you later.